Hey guys, Tina here and welcome to another video. Today I'll be wrapping up the last couple of weeks and let you know what I managed to read during that time period. And I actually had quite a good time during these 2 weeks. I first managed to finish Bothbringer by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 3 in his Stormlight archive, and I really enjoyed it. This is definitely my favorite of his series, and these books are just fantastic and I do recommend them. And they tell the story of this place called Roshar, which is a big place. It's divided into various kingdoms and empires, and they do not get along at all, but mostly we focus on a kingdom called Eltikar, and the king of, well, the previous king of Eltikar, called Gavilar, I always mess that up, was killed 5 years ago. He was murdered by this assassin that was hired by the people called Parshendi. And Parshendi they're not exactly humans, they're like a different species but similar to humans. And ever since then, the Eltikar and the Parshendi have been waging a war in this place called the Shattered Plains, which I sort of imagine like a huge canyon, but there are different plateaus, and the army has to go from one plateau to the other in order to get to the Parshendi and fight them. But the thing is that yeah, the war's not been going that well, and that is mostly due to the fact that the High Princes of Eltikar are sort of competing against each other and not really focusing on the enemy. They're, you know, chasing these chasm fiends and getting the stones that they have and just building their wealth instead of waging the war. And Dalinar, who is the former king's brother, or the uncle of the current king, he has been trying to unite them so they could actually finish the war and go back home and just rule the kingdom and make it better. And he's also been having visions, and he thinks that he's going crazy, and so are the rest of the people. And he's a really great character. I love him. Then we have the king, who is sort of self-conscious. He's not exactly sure whether or not he's a good king, or, you know, I don't know, he's just not feeling it exactly. Then we have Dalinar's sons, and then we have Kaladin, who is, well, the protagonist of the first book, and he's a bridge runner, so he's a slave. He used to be a soldier, but he was demoted into slavery. And he is one of the bridge runners, and bridge runners are teams, well, crews of people that actually carry the bridges for the army. So because they are fighting on these plateaus, they have to cross from one plateau to the other, and they need bridges to cross those gaps in between. And bridge runners actually carry the bridges to lay them down so the army can cross and then pick them up and run again ahead of the army. And it's quite a hard life, and Kaladin is really sort of fatherly when it comes to his people. He wants to take care of them, make sure that they're okay, and he just sort of unites them. He's really good at that, and he's also going through a lot of his own issues, so yeah, I really love him. And then we have a few great ladies as well. There's Navani. She's the former king's wife, and she is really smart and very politically versed. She's just fantastic when it comes to that. Then we have Yasna, or Jasna, however you want to pronounce it, and she's the current king's sister, and she's a scholar, and she's very smart, very educated, but also very rational. Emotions don't really play into her mind at all, or her decisions. And then we have Shallan, who's this young girl, and she wants to become an apprentice to Yasna, and I have to say that I really didn't care for her in book 1, but she has grown on me since then, and she's definitely my favorite female character. And in Oathbringer, she has this wow arch that just blew me, because it was so interesting, crazy, interesting, just fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. And this third book, I mean, maybe Words of Radiance, it's still my favorite, the second one, but this one was just, it was a great installment. I really enjoyed it. There was so much going on, and we learned so much about this world that we didn't know before, and wow, and something just actually blew my mind, and it's just fantastic. Of course, now we have to wait a bit until the 4th book comes out, but that's okay. I mean, you can reread these and you will always find something new in them, I'm pretty sure, because there's just so much information and so many connections to make, and there's this references to other books in the Cosmere series. So yeah, definitely, maybe if you haven't read any of his others, I'm not sure if you should just start here or not. I mean, if you don't care about Cosmere at all, definitely just pick them up. If you want to, maybe, I don't know, maybe you should start with Final Empire, I'm not sure. He would suggest that, but yeah, it's up to you. But they're fantastic books just in general, so yeah, definitely. There's so many quotes that you can just use, and just fantastic writing. Then the next book that I managed to finish is The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan, which is book 3 in his Wheel of Time series. which tells the story of Rand and his two friends. They live in this small village, and one night their village is attacked, and there's a lot of damage, a lot of people get hurt, and the boys figure out that these people were actually after them, so they decide to flee in order to save their friends and family so they would not be hurt again. And it just so coincides that during that time there was this woman called Moraine in the village, and she's an Aes Sedai, and Aes Sedai are women that are able to wield the power, so she's sort of a sorceress and she has a bodyguard called Lan, and the boys join them in order so those two can, you know, take them to safety basically, and some other girls also join them as they go on this adventure. And yeah, there's a lot of adventure, a lot of going on in these books. I just love them. I mean, they're slower in pace, there's a lot of information. Again, they're really remind me of Tolkien because the world is so well developed, there's so much history, there's so much there's so many layers in it, and I really enjoy that. But yeah, they're slower, and I think I'm actually gonna sort of film a review of the first 3 books, but not like in-depth review, but just more like informational guide or something like that. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, anyways, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, on to the next one, I suppose. Then the last book that I managed to finish was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, and I started reading it after I finished Oathbringer. So I have to say that that first day when I was reading it, I didn't really enjoy it, and mostly I think that's because I just finished such a great book. And then I slowly grew into it. It grew on me. I sort of started liking it, and it tells the story of this woman. She's a travel reporter, so she writes for a travel magazine, and she's not really happy in her life, I don't think so. She is dealing with things. She has mental health issues, and some things happen to her that also mess with her, and she's supposed to go on this cruise and write about it. And then she sees this woman on the ship. She sees this woman, and then she believes that this woman actually drowned, and nobody believes her, and it's just, you know, sort of a murder mystery type of thing. And I liked it. I mean, I was not blown away by it by any means. It sort of reminded me of Agatha Christie. It's such like a cozy read. It's not, you know, there are twists and turns, I guess, but actually it's all pretty obvious. I thought, you know, a few times I thought that things are going to veer into a different direction, because I thought, well, that definitely must be a trail that I should follow. But yeah, I guess I was wrong about that. And yeah, but all in all, I enjoyed it, and I will definitely pick something else up by her whenever. I think there's another book out or more. I'm not sure. I don't follow her exactly. So yeah, but those are all the books that I managed to finish. It was quite a huge amount actually of reading, given the fact that Bothbringer is 1200 pages, and yeah, it's a huge book. So yeah, I'm actually very pleased. So right now I'm actually reading The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss, which is a novella from his King Killer Chronicles, and it tells the story of Ari. And for those of you who have read The Name of the Wind, you will know that Ari is this whimsical character. She's strange and weird a bit, but very enjoyable, and so is this book. It's very tiny, but so far I'm finding it to be pretty slow. I will see if, you know, if it picks up or not. But yeah, that's what I'm reading currently. I'm also not sure whether or not, or I'm not sure actually what I'm going to pick up next aside from this. I'll just see how I feel about things, but I also have a book haul for you, a small book haul, and I'm just gonna incorporate it here because I don't plan to get any more books. Fingers crossed that happens, because I just figured out that I have way too many books, well, who knew, and that I don't want to buy that many in the future, so let me get them. So the first book that I got is All the Cricket Saints by Maggie Stiefvater, and I really loved her Raven Cycle, so I decided to get this one. I want some, you know, her beautiful writing again in my life, and I'm not sure what this is exactly about. I think it's about a family that performs miracles, but that's all I know. And I just love this cover. I mean, I saw it on internet before, of course, but I didn't think it was that pretty. But now, when I have it here, it's really beautiful, and the spine is just wow. It's so bright and gorgeous, and it's a shorter book, so I think it's going to be a pretty fast read, hopefully, or well, her books are not necessarily fast, so, but yeah, I don't care about that. Anyways, it's just a beautiful book, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the next one is actually I don't know why I bought it. It's just, definitely didn't need it, but it's so beautiful and I just wanted to have it. So there you go, a great reason. And that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It's the 10th anniversary edition. And I just love this cover, and this book has some pretty covers as it is out there. And I have a pretty cover, you know, the UK one. But this one is just so, I don't know, I just like it. You know, I'm a sucker for brighter, yeah, usually white color covers, but this one is slightly grayer, but still it's beautiful, and it has the red edges, and inside the end pages are like this script. It's just beautiful. And there's also illustrations inside. And to tell you the truth, I'm not a huge fan of these books. There are some, well, this is not the best illustration, but still. I'm not the hugest fan of these books, and I think that part of that is, well, some of it was the hype definitely surrounding them, and I think it's sort of my misconception of what these books are about and what Quoth is like. I mean, I heard about, you know, that Quoth is not necessarily the greatest character. I mean, that, you know, he's slightly arrogant and all that, but I was just, I don't know, just I had different ideas what these books are like, and I think that was part of the reason why I didn't like them so much. But I'll of course be rereading them because eventually book 3 is gonna come out. I mean, well, let's hope so. And yeah, then I will be reading it from this edition, because why not? So yeah, those are all the books that I read and all the books that I got. I actually have one graphic novel that I'm still waiting for, but it's coming out at the end of December, so you know, I'm not gonna wait for that. It's gonna come, it's gonna be one of my January book hauls. Not one, just one, not one of them, just one, hopefully. And yes, those are all the books that I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!